Welcome to King County Connects, a program that connects you with the regional issues facing us. I'm Kimberly Hill. Executive Dow Constantine is releasing his legislative agenda for 2011. He joins us now along with Deputy County Executive Fred Jarrett to talk more about the state of the county and your legislative agenda. I guess the big question is, what is the state of the county? How are we doing?
Well, thanks for having us, Kimberly. I'm pleased to say that the state of the county is strong and vibrant. We're in difficult times, but we have risen to the challenges facing us, and we have a lot of accomplishments during the last year to show for it. When I came into office, we were facing big budget challenges. We were facing a dam, the Howard Hanson Dam, that had sprung a leak. We were facing the South Park Bridge that needed to be closed. Problems with our animal shelter, problems with siting a new jail for our cities. We have taken on each of those challenges and we have succeeded. Succeeded through partnerships. We succeeded by engaging all of our employees in making it work. So now the repairs are going forward on the Howard Hanson Dam. We are getting ready to break ground on a new South Park Bridge. Our cities are no longer looking for a place for a new jail and are instead joining together to plan for a shared future. We have an agreement with 27 of our cities for a new regional animal services function that is providing more humane care and better animal control. And we have taken on the big challenge of the county budget, really rebasing our budget, resetting our budget in order to make it sustainable over time. And in doing that, we've partnered with our employees, they've fully participated, and they're going to be the ones who help us continue to balance that budget in the future by identifying efficiencies and helping us improve the way service is delivered.
The county's been facing revenue problems for the last few years. Are we out of the woods? Are we moving into recovery?
We are again resetting the way we do our budget so that we can continually take on the challenges we're going to face. We don't believe there's ever going to be a time in the future when there are abundant and unlimited resources to provide services. Nor do we believe there's going to be a time when we aren't challenged by cost pressures. But we do think we have control over a lot of the ways in which we respond to those challenges. And so by making sure that we are constantly reevaluating how we provide service, treating our public and the folks who receive services as customers and the things we do as products so that we can measure them and make sure we're delivering the best quality services, we can continue to provide an excellent level of service even in the face of those challenges. But I would never say, oh, our problems are behind us now. Right. I would say that we're in a stronger position than most other governments to take on those challenges as they come.
You have been working on a reform agenda. What kind of progress have we seen?
Well, the progress has been very good. As I alluded to, our employees have helped us out a lot. This last year, 93% of our employees came forward and agreed to forego their cost of living adjustments for this year, that we might be able to continue to provide service to the public and preserve jobs for hardworking county employees. In addition, they are joining us in an effort where we're calling on them to be the difference, to help us reform each of their programs, divisions, departments, with an eye toward removing the hurdles that are in their way, keeping them from doing their best work, getting more value for each tax dollar, and ultimately putting us in a position to be able to preserve services in an era of more limited resources. We're training folks within each work site to be peer leaders in that effort, and it is going to be a very successful program, I believe, that is going to provide ongoing benefits for the county.
You've been looking at performance-based management. What is that and how does it work?
I think Fred Jarrett, our deputy executive, has been leading the charge in that area, and perhaps he can answer the question.
Well, I think the bottom line is that we're all accountable for our performance. The question is what is that accountability? What is it? What are we accountable to? And as Dow mentioned, what we've been trying to do is to switch the way that we think about accountability so that we're accountable to our customers, to the people who we serve. He mentioned products. Well, Stephen Covey talked about starting with the end in mind, and for us, the product, what we deliver to our customer, is the end that we're trying to deliver. And getting our employees, all of our team members, to focus on what we're delivering to our customers and finding where there are things that we're doing that actually don't provide benefits to the customer, and then figuring out how we can do away with them. That's how we're saving money. That's how we're getting to the 3% productivity improvements that are necessary for us to be able to have a sustainable county.
How do you measure efficiency? How do you know you're doing a good job?
Well, we think that there's three things that you really pay attention to. The first is the quality of what you're doing. In government, we have a tendency not to do a good job of measuring the quality of our product. We tend to go right to how much effort we put into it. Second is how quickly can you do it. The faster that you can do it, the less time it takes to actually deliver a service, the less expensive it tends to be, and the more customer satisfaction that you get. And then finally, what's the cost of what you deliver? Not the effort you put into it, but what's the cost of what you deliver, and how do you bring that down while at the same time improving the quality of what you're delivering to the public? If you ask those three questions in all the work that you're doing, you will over time find that you can improve, and you'll have better quality products, happier customers, happier taxpayers, and lower cost services.
How does this apply to a county service? Can you give us an example?
Well, there's a couple that we've been working on. One is the first real pilot we did of this was in DDES, which is our permitting agency.
Right.
And what we asked them to do is to move away from a billable hours, an effort-based measure of their accountability, to something that was focused on what our customers, what homeowners and developers want, which is a permit that allows them to proceed. And we've asked them to start measuring, is the permit compliant? Did we issue a permit that meets all of the regulatory requirements that we have? How long did it take to do it? Mm-hmm. And what did it cost? And as of December, we've moved to where over 90% of the permits, by both volume and by cost, are now fixed price, where the risk of performance is on us because we're the ones that are doing the work, and our customers have a much more predictable schedule for when they're going to get their permits. We have the first in 20 years, the first time you can go to the county's permitting agency and get an over-the-counter permit. I think those are the kinds of things that you see when you start to focus on what you deliver as opposed to just the effort that you put into it.
What other priorities for 2011?
Well, the first priority by far is continuing to build on the success we've had in reforming King County government, on building those internal processes that are going to allow us to continue to provide service to protect the quality of life of the public in the challenging times to come. And that really involves building out our reform agenda, engaging our employees in the hard work ahead, and making sure everyone has the expectation that we're going to be constantly reevaluating, changing, reforming, adjusting as times change. Only by doing that, and only by making that a systematic approach to government, are we going to be able to succeed. But now, as we're coming out of this recession, as we're on the cusp of a recovery, we need to also raise our sights and focus on putting people back to work. And I believe that the government has a tremendously important role in creating the conditions for business development, for business relocation, for business growth here in our region. So providing the infrastructure, building the transportation systems, whether it's the South Park Bridge or whether it's our new high-speed rail or new light rail system, whether it is completing the Brightwater sewage treatment plant to provide the capacity for new construction and development. Providing that infrastructure is going to allow the conditions for entrepreneurs, for people with energy and drive and an idea to be able to succeed here in King County. And then making sure that that prosperity is something that's accessible to all the people, so that you, regardless of the circumstance of your birth, have a chance to succeed here in King County based on your merit and your drive and determination. That is the key goal for King County government for this year, the key new goal.
You've said you've also wanted to start helping out small business and propose something called the revolving, or it's actually the Grow King County Fund, which is a revolving loan system. How does that work, and who would be eligible?
Well, this is right in line with what I was talking about, getting people back to work, creating the conditions for businesses to start, grow, and create jobs. The Grow King County Fund is being started through a federal grant that we've received, just a few $100,000. And we are leveraging additional federal funds from the Small Business Administration to create about a $1.4 million fund from which we can loan money to people with new small businesses to be able to move forward with their business plans. And these loans could be very small, as small as $50,000. But the big problem that a lot of small businesses have right now is tight credit. They may have an idea, they may have a good idea, but if you can't get the capital to get started, it remains just an idea, and that doesn't put anybody to work. So we want to make it possible for some businesses to take advantage of this credit to get their business going, and this will pay us dividends year after year into the future as some of these businesses take off and grow. We know that small business is going to be the engine for job growth in the future. We all applaud the awarding of the tanker contract to Boeing. We're excited to put our highly skilled aerospace workers to work for many years to come. But we also have to be attentive to the needs of small business, and that need right now is for credit to get moving.
What about you are advocating a new strategic plan for Metro Transit? How would that work?
Well, the transit system, and Metro has one of the finest bus systems in the country. That's part of the infrastructure we provide too. That helps business succeed. It gets workers to work and back home again. It keeps mobility functioning on our roads. And the new transit strategic plan is based in large part on the work of our transit task force, our regional transit task force, that worked over the course of the last year, a diverse group of stakeholders from across the county, and came to consensus about a new approach to allocating bus hours. How are we going to spend that next dollar? If we have to make cuts, how will that happen? And rather than having it be based on arbitrary geographic divisions or political machinations, they set out objective criteria based on productivity, moving the most people, and also on social and geographic diversity that is a hallmark of this county. And so we're incorporating that into the new strategic plan and submitting it to the county council, saying, here is a new model, a model that will give us confidence that we're spending each transit dollar as effectively as possible. And will give the legislature confidence we're doing that too, because we are going united to the legislature, asking for help to continue transit funding and keep our buses moving.
Will that provide a reliable funding source for Metro Transit?
The state legislature is considering a bill this session that would provide an interim funding source during the recession, the end of the recession, to make up for some of the sales tax that has been lost. Metro is funded by a 9/10 cent sales tax, and that is by far its biggest funding source. And sales taxes absolutely collapsed when the economy collapsed. And that is really the source of our shortfall. So our workers have stepped up and helped us with cost of living concessions. Our consumers, our bus riders, have helped paying increased fares. We have taken on reforms that were recommended through audits and put them in place at Metro, saving hundreds of thousands of hours of service. But we still need additional funds. And the state legislature is listening. They're recognizing the reforms that have been made at Metro and that we're running a great bus agency. And I'm hopeful that they're going to come through and help protect the bus service that is necessary for a lot of folks coming out of this recession.
The state has its own money problems.
Oh, it does. And that's why they're talking about giving us authority. Certainly they are not in a position to be writing checks for local services.
But Councilmember Phillips was down last week testifying in favor of that bill. And one of the remarkable things that happened was the chair of the Senate Transportation Committee lauded Metro and used Metro as an example of what needs to be done in transit around the state. That is unusual. That's the first time in my knowledge that's ever happened.
Good news. The results of the latest census have been released, and not only is King County growing, but we are becoming more ethnically diverse. Challenges for the county, for services, and also opportunities.
And that's exactly right, both challenges and opportunities. It is great news that King County is continuing to grow, and now, because of our attention to growth management, grow in a way that's much more sustainable. This is not the uncontrolled sprawl of the 60s or 70s or even 80s. This is growth that's happening in urban centers all around this county that are easily served by transit and other utilities, where people can walk to housing, shopping, and to their jobs. And this is the kind of growth that's going to stand us in very good stead in the future, as opposed to the old, expensive, land-consumptive growth. The diversity that's coming to our county is now, I believe, 30% people of color, is a tremendous asset to us. And part of our economic development program is going to be focused on ensuring that historically disadvantaged communities, as well as new immigrant communities, have the opportunities to get new businesses started, to harness that tremendous energy, drive, and determination to succeed in America and have that success happen right here in our region. That is a benefit to all of us, and I'm very, very excited that King County has made some good decisions in the past, putting us in a strong position for future growth.
What about folks living outside the urban centers? What about rural King County and environmental stewardship?
The voters of King County decades ago now said that they thought it was important to protect our farmlands, and they voted to protect those lands in perpetuity, many of them through the Farmlands Preservation Ordinance. We are continuing to respect that decision by attempting to find ways for our farmers to get their goods to market. Do you know that King County farmlands are the most productive farmlands in the state, in part because of excellent access to urban markets? So ensuring that we have road systems, ensuring that we have regulatory systems that encourage that farming on that land, that don't put those farmers into competition with other uses for the farmland that might be more lucrative, that ultimately reinforce a strong and proud agricultural tradition in our county. That's a high priority for our county. Protecting the forest lands, the resource lands, and the rural lands that are home to both residences and businesses supporting our resource industries is also a high priority. And as we send our comprehensive plan updates to the council, we're going to be looking to reinforce those positive patterns of growth and land use.
Well, we definitely have a busy year ahead. What do you think will be the greatest challenges this year?
Well, the economy and the budget continue to be big challenges. We are in a different era now, and I'm heartened by the fact that everyone from our partners on the county council to our partners in our 39 cities to our employees and the public have understood that we're implementing a different approach. We're calling for a different way of thinking about government services. We are not willing to pull back and allow our county to experience a decline in quality of life. But we have to be more efficient and effective. We have to rely more on partnerships, leveraging the value that each party brings to the table in order to provide what the people of this county need to succeed. So the challenge is to keep the human service infrastructure, to keep the public health infrastructure, to move forward with the physical infrastructure within the context of these budget constraints, to keep the reform agenda on track, and to focus on really being at the forefront of this economic recovery, because our region is in competition with other forward-looking places in the rest of the country. We need to be the place that people want to come to do business.
This is your second year as executive. Are you enjoying it?
I am. It's a remarkable job. You have this great big county. I visited all 39 cities and many other places in the county last year. Tremendously diverse, nearly 2 million people, a huge territory, and the ability to unite a lot of folks from across this county around some shared goals of protecting their quality of life and that of their children and ensuring future opportunity and prosperity is a wonderful challenge and opportunity for me. It can be a little exhausting at times, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Great. Well, thank you both for being here today. We wish you luck with your agenda this year. And thank you for joining us for King County Connects. If you'd like to contact us or see our programming schedule, visit us online at kingcounty.gov/KCTV.